So we want to look at legal structures of business units. Kindly mute your mics, please. So when we say business units, or basically we can call it forms of business or forms of business units. Okay. So basically we have three major types of business units. We'll look at each of them and every other thing that comes with it. Okay. So legal structures or business units. Let's look at our objectives. So at the end of the lecture, we should be able to explain the characteristics of the different forms or types of business organizations available to the entrepreneur. We should be able to describe the factors to consider when selecting an appropriate form of business. We should also be able to describe the benefits and the drawbacks of the different types of business organizations. And finally, we should be able to describe what we mean by franchising and give some of its advantages and disadvantages. Okay. So these are our learning outcomes. So as I said, or I mentioned earlier, basically we have three forms of business units or business organizations. We have the sole proprietorship, we have the partnership, and we have the company. We have the sole proprietorship, we have the partnership, and finally, we have the company. So these three business units are also grouped or they under two main categories. Okay. They are called the unincorporated business units or unincorporated businesses and units or businesses. We mostly refer to the unincorporated business unit as business units with liability. They are business units with unlimited liability. We have the next one. Generally, we have these two categories of business units. So under each of them, we could get or find these three or any. Okay, so I always want to put these things or some theories or anything we are talking about into practical style. So we'll be able to understand it practically or not just looking at the theoretical aspect of it, but we should be able to conceptualize it and check or see how it works practically. So this is a practical example or it's a case we can look at. Okay. So we have NS Chemist, which we are all familiar with, the name and all that. Okay, founded by Ernest Bediako, started as a sole proprietorship. So there are key terms we would like to talk about here as we move on. Okay. So the man started as a sole proprietor, or the business started as a sole proprietorship. Okay, that is one form of business, but later transitioned into a partnership. Okay, that is another form of business unit. Okay, so this is why he transitioned into a partnership form of business from sole proprietorship. Okay, so the decision was driven by the need for more capital. That is one. 2, shared responsibility and risk sharing. So these 3 reasons are what triggered Mr. Bediako to move or change from sole proprietorship to partnership. Okay. Partnership, or the partnership, allowed for financial contribution from others, helping expand operations. Okay. It is also brought in experts in finance, pharmaceuticals, and business management. Okay. So we can look at these as the advantages the man received or the business received as he moved into partnership. Okay, so with a partnership, NS Chemist expanded significantly across the country. Okay, so eventually it transitioned into what? Private limited liability company, which is also another form of what? Business unit. Okay, so the man transitioned from sole proprietorship to what? Partnership because of certain reasons, and then later to private limited liability company due to certain reasons. Okay. So the reason for transitioning from partnership to sole proprietorship, or what do you call it, to private limited liability company, is because it expanded. It expanded across the country. Okay, so this is the reason why he considered transitioning from what? Partnership to what? Private limited liability company. Okay, so this case just summarized everything as to why or what triggered a businessman, okay, or the entrepreneur to select or choose a particular form of business, okay, other than the what do you call it, a particular form of business than the others. Okay, so we have the unincorporated business units. We want to look at them one after the other. So unincorporated and incorporated business units. Okay, so we first look at the unincorporated business units, normally refers to as the unlimited liability companies. Okay, so they are companies that has no distinction in law between the individual owner of a business and the business itself. Okay, there are no distinction between the owner of the business and the business itself. Okay, so for instance, if I establish this form of business unit or entity, the key characteristic here is that I, the owner of the business, and the business are not two different things. Okay, we consider the two as the same. Okay, there are no distinction in law between the individual owner and the business. Okay, so the reason why we said it has unlimited liability is that they pay their debts in full. Okay, so it means when the business owe, you, the owner, have to pay your debts in, or pay all those debts. Any form of risk, any form of misapprehension, any form of anything, just like how you enjoy your profits alone or yourself, you also do what? Have to bear the responsibilities, or we can say the risks. Okay, so you said you pay debt in full to any creditors, and this concept is called unlimited liability. So examples of these business units are what we see here. The sole proprietorship, and partnership. So unincorporated businesses include sole proprietorship and partnerships. Sorry, I have to be changing the colors because that's what I can see well. Most of them I can see well, so sorry about that. Then we have the second one, or the second broad category, called the incorporated businesses. Okay, and we said they have limited liability, or businesses with what? Limited liability. Okay, so this business has a legal identity that is separate from the individual owners. So the business, the idea is that you establish the business, but once the business receives its certificate of incorporation, from that day, we treat you, the owner of the business, and the business separately. You are not part of the business. So the reason why it is called limited liability company is that liability is limited. The reason for this is that its liability is limited. Okay. So unlike here where you have to pay your debts in full or whatever, here you can establish the business or the company, and since you are not part, or the law doesn't allow you to be treated, what do you call it? You to be treated as part of the company. You do what? You don't bear the risk or the debts of the business or of the company. Okay. So you treat you treat the business as differently, or the company as different, and the owners of the business or the company as different. Examples of these business units are the private limited company and the public limited company. Okay. They are the private limited company and the public limited company. And it is governed by the Companies Code 1963, Act 179. Okay. So broadly, we can say we have two main types of, or categories of business unit. One, the unincorporated businesses, and they include sole proprietorship and partnership. We also have the incorporated businesses, and they include private limited company and then public limited company. Okay. Or we say company. Okay. So that's why we have two different kinds of companies, but they are all companies. They are all the same thing. Okay. So let's pick each of these business units and demystify it. Okay. Elaborate on it and understand what they actually mean. Okay. So we are looking at the unincorporated businesses. Okay. And the first thing we want to look at is the sole proprietorship. The sole proprietorship. We said this business is owned by one person. So as the name suggests, one. So one. Okay. Sole proprietorship, not two. One. The key word here is own. It is owned by one person, not managed by one person per se, but it is owned by one person. Okay. So he or she may choose to employ other people. So the owner can choose to employ other people to help him or her to manage it. That doesn't mean that the business is owned by those people, or what do you call it, by the owner and the other people he employed. Okay. But the whole idea is that sole proprietorship is always owned by a person. Okay. Sole traders are mostly common found in the provision of local services. So these gobe sellers, these wache joints or whatever, I mean a whole lot. These Indomie guys, these orange sellers, so they are local services. Local services. Okay. We cannot conclude that sole proprietorship is not, what do you call it? It's always no. But the idea is that it is mostly common in the local services, or what do you call it? Of local services. Okay. And it has unlimited liability for the business. It means anything but that has to do with the business success, the owner bears these responsibilities. Yes, please. Joseph.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, I think we are closely following your lecture, but then there are pauses and then we can hardly follow through. I think you are making omissions. I don't know if it's because of your network, but I just wanted to draw your attention to it.
Okay.
All right.
The network is worrying, eh?
Yeah, you are going well, but then there are times that you go mute, although you have during the lecture, so you don't hear what you are saying. So I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, sorry. I use Vodafone, so you know, Vodafone and their internet there.
I just wanted to draw your attention to it.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Yeah. Let me position myself well and see if it's okay. Okay, so I think we can manage it. All right. Please, can I be heard?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So we move on. So these are the key characteristics of sole proprietorship form of business unit. Okay. Please, if I break or something like that, kindly draw my attention. Because I normally see this signal as the, what do you call it, network is unstable, whatever. But I don't know if, or I didn't know you've been getting the feedback there. So kindly draw my attention if any of such something happens. Right. Okay. So we cannot look at the characteristics without looking at the benefits or the advantages and disadvantages that come with this form of business unit. Okay. So we said I'll just look at or tackle a few of them because of time. So you can read the, how do you call it? The rest. Okay. So we say simple to set up. Okay. So everyone can attest to the fact that, Madam Patient, please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. So we said it is simple to set up, and we all know and can attest to the fact that is anyone's hand up? Okay, sorry. So it is simple to set up, right? Everyone can see and observe and attest to the fact that sole proprietorship form of businesses are not that difficult to set up. Okay, you don't follow any strong or any what do you call it, long process before you set it up. It is just a simple thing. How much or how long does it take for you to set up this orange business? You can just wake up one day, go to the market, buy your orange and start selling. Okay, it is very simple. It is very simple to set up. Okay, this gobe joint, this what do you call it? Wache joint. It is not that extreme. The process is not that extreme or difficult or intense when you want to set up this form of businesses. Okay, so it is least expensive way to start a business. Yes, we all know now orange. If you have just 100 cedis, you can start your orange business. Yes, I don't know for a fact, but I should believe that with just 100 cedis, you can start an orange business. It is not expensive at all to start up this form of businesses. Okay, so owner has a total decision-making authority. Okay, so you plan from the beginning to the end, and all decisions regarding the management of this business is under your control as the sole proprietor or the owner of this form of business. Okay, so you decide when the business should open or the shop should open. You decide when you close. You decide, who to employ and all those things. Okay. So we said there are no special legal restrictions at all compared to companies. There are no special restrictions at all compared to companies where you have to be signing documents and all those things. No. Okay. So we said it is easy to discontinue. So you can choose, or you can just wake up one day and say you won't do the business again. You won't sell any gobe again. Yes. And no one, or you don't have to go to the registrar or wherever to do what? To close it officially. So it is easy to discontinue. Okay. So ease of start or end, be your own boss. Yes. These are all self-explained points. We can pride of ownership. Yes. You can pride of the ownership. You can boldly say you own this and own it yourself without anyone's what? Participation. So we say retain of profits. Yes, you enjoy all profits. You don't share your profits with anyone or any other partner. Okay, so no special taxes compared to what do you call it? Companies. And then we say more privacy than others, since it is you alone. Okay, or since it has to do with a sole owner. Every information regarding the business is within you or between you and yourself. Okay, you don't have to be making any account to anyone on those kind of things. No, it is you and yourself. Okay. That's why they always have their aprons. They have their money, they'll put it in. You don't even know how much they got that day. Yes. So let's look at some of the disadvantages. Okay. So we said owner is personally liable. The owner is personally liable. It means that, you see, we talked about a whole lot of juicy facts here. One example is pride of ownership. Then, since you are priding of ownership, or you enjoy all your profits alone, the same way you do what? You are personally liable to any risk that this business has to bring. Okay. We also said it is limited, or it has limited diversity in skills and capabilities. So you see, it is you and you alone. Okay. Normally, if it has to do with more people, okay, maybe like partnership where you have about 5 people or whatever, you have these skills. You have a person who can be good in accounting. You have a person who can be good in management. You can have a person who can be good in maybe legal, whatever, and a whole lot. Okay. So within that set or management set, you can have diverse skills. But if it is you alone, okay, every skill or that single skill you have is that, or that's the only skill available for you in the business. Okay. So if you know accounting, that is all. Okay. You don't have any other person within the management team who has any other skills that you can talk of. Okay, so we said the owner has limited access to capital. Yes. So for example, a company like, let's say, Fanmark, okay, Fanmark want to initiate any projects, okay, and the owner goes to, or maybe the management goes to, what do you call it, Prudential Bank for a loan, and this orange seller also goes to Prudential Bank for a loan for a project. Between these people, who they will think will get a loan? Basically, he said what? The company. Okay. So financial institutions find it difficult to give these people loan because of the nature of the business. The reality or the truth is that because it lacks this legal, what do you call it, covers, okay, there are no legal, what do you call it, backing it or backing its operation. So everyone is afraid to invest or take any risk in this kind of businesses when it comes to, what do you call it, provision of funds and all those capital and all that. Okay, so we have lack of continuity. Yes, so once you die as an owner, the business comes to an end. That's what we talked, or we said, lack of continuity. So once the business, the owner dies, the business ends. That orange seller, once he dies, the business ends. There won't be any form of, business existence when it comes to, a situation where the owner dies under sole proprietorship. Then we can look at limited financial resources. We can look at difficulty management because you were alone, okay, and you manage the business alone. Sometimes difficult to manage, okay, because of the lack of skill diversity we saw here, okay. So time commitment. Sometimes you need to commit all your time, leaving all other things, and then you commit all your time on these businesses, okay. So limited growth. Yes, you can see one gobble joint will be there for so many years and they will still be there, okay. Limited growth, I mean, in a proper way, every business should be growing, expanding, those kind of things, like how we saw grew from one point to the other. That is the normal way it should go, but it is not popular. So limited lifespan. Yes, the business doesn't take too long to, okay, this thing is here again. Okay. So sorry, I think the network was bad again. I think it's okay now. So limited and then high risk, high risk, high risk of maybe collapsing, those kind of things. Yeah. Okay. Also have one main or business, and this is called partnership. So basically, we have looked at, what do you call it? Sole proprietorship, the characteristics and its advantages and disadvantages. Okay, and that should be enough. Of two or more people. So the law demands that partnership should be up to 20. Okay. So association of two or more people up to 20 to carry on a co-owners in a okay. They are not too large like companies. Okay. These businesses are also limited in size, although it's a bit larger than the sole proprietorship. So we said this business is jointly owned by partners. Okay, so maybe few people, let's say Kwajo, Kwame, ya will come together to do what? Form this business. Okay, and it is called partnership. Partnership form of business. Okay. So partnerships in Ghana are governed by the Partnership Act. Okay, so although you go to what do you call the registrar, or you all go to the registrar, the act will determine what or which business or which form of business you are to do what put up or you are to establish. Okay, it is governed by the Partnership Act. So we have types of partnership. We have the active partner, who the active partner is a partner who what do you call it, engage in all the day-to-day activities of the what of the what do you call it, the business. So every day they will come or they report when it comes to management related activities or tasks they perform, they do that and all that. Okay, so they are active. It means that they participate in daily activities of the management of the business. The sleeping partner or the what do you call the dormant partner do not engage in daily activities of the management of the business. Okay, so these partners basically give out their capital, okay, for the business to start, but the agreement will demand that this business will not do what? Participate or take full participation in the running of the business. Okay, so a general partner is also like the active partner. Okay, but the idea is that a general partner can enjoy a limited liability, For instance, if there is any debt, this huge debt where we have to share among or between the partners, there are situations where the general partner may not be what? Part of people who should bear this liability. Okay. So just like the sole proprietorship where we look at advantages and disadvantages, we have to look at, or it is crucial to look at the advantages and disadvantages for partnership as well. Okay, so I'll be fast a bit here. We said ease of formation, just like the sole proprietorship, the partnership is also easy to form. Okay, the reason why we always mention it is easy to form is that it doesn't require any strict legal procedure to form it. Okay, so 10 people, 5 people, 3 people can just get up one day and establish the business, and it is still what? A partnership. Okay, diversification of what? Skills. So since it involves people more than, or it involves more than one people, okay, or sorry, more than one person, we can say we would definitely going to get what? Diverse skills. So let's say it is 5 people. Within the 5 people, you're definitely going to get one accountant or one person who is good in accounting. You're definitely going to get one person who is good in maybe management, general management. One person who is good in maybe public relations. One person who is good in this. One person. So you could see all these people in that single group of partners. Okay. We said it increased opportunity for accumulation of capital. Yes, because of the number. Okay, let's say 10 people. If you want to start this business now and we need capital to start up, it's very easy. Taking just 1,000 cedis or 2,000 cedis from each person will add up to around 10,000 compared to the sole proprietor where he's the only person. So assuming if he's the only person and he has only 10, what do you call it? That 2,000. The capital here is 2,000 for sole proprietorship, but for the partnership, we can say the partnership is higher. Okay, so it is easy to do what? Increase the opportunity of capital accumulation. And then we said it has minimal legal formalities and regulations. Yes, we've talked about that. More financial resources, shared management. Okay, so you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. So we have to share, or we share the management of the business among the partners. So longer survivor. Yes, partnerships are normally, or it takes long time than that of sole proprietorship, because the idea is that once a partner dies, okay, the business can still exist. Okay, so in, how do you call it, compared to the sole proprietorship, where once he dies everything collapses, this we could see that even though it is limited in size and all that, once a partner dies the business still exists. Okay, that's what we are talking about, because the rest or the other partners can still manage or control. So we said the disadvantages include personal liability of partners. When there is a risk or debt or whatever, you share it among the what? Partners. Yes, nobody pays it for you. We said relative difficulty in disposing of, what do you call it, an interest or share in partnership. So we said it is not easy to do or transfer your partnership or your interest or share to any other person. It is difficult. Okay, it is difficult. You cannot easily dispose your interest. So it is difficult to share or maybe transfer. That's the key word. Transfer. Please, what do you call it? The meeting is being recorded. Joseph, Free. The meeting is being recorded, please. So I think we are safe. Okay. We said it has potential for conflict between partners, and you can attest to the fact that since it has more than one person, definitely disagreement on all that can occur. So lack of continuity is also peculiar in partnership. You have unlimited liability. We have division of profit. While sole proprietor is enjoying his profit alone, here you have to share it. If it is 5,000 and the partners are 5, it means everybody is getting what? 1,000. Compared to the profit under sole proprietorship, when it is 5,000, he enjoys it alone. Okay, so disagreement among partners difficult to terminate. Okay, it is difficult to terminate because we can get up one day to say, okay, we want to what? Terminate this business, or we want to close down this business. One partner may agree, the other partner may not agree. Okay, so this disagreement between the partners when it comes to this decision may delay or make the whole process seem difficult. Okay. Then we have the incorporated. Now we are done with the unincorporated form of business. And we've looked at partnership and sole proprietorship. Now we move to the second phase of it, called the what? Incorporated business unit, or on the incorporated businesses. Okay. And the first one we could talk about is the private limited company. Private limited company. So we said there are companies funded by shares that cannot be advertised for sale without the agreement
today,
of.
I don't have letters. I just came where there's noise at my place. Yes, I'm on. And the business administration. It's Ima. Yes.
Please, yeah, Andrews, please, your hand is up.
Now I was asking, under the unlimited business,
Yeah.
is it that when the business own, the owner can use his personal properties to defray the cost? Is that so?
Yes, please, we are coming to explain it into details, and you understand how companies work, or private companies works. Okay. Please, are you okay with that?
All right.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So let me first explain how companies work, or companies are established. Okay. So before a company will be established, okay, so this maybe one person, two people, three people, or whatever it is, okay, we want to, or we don't want to go the average way, we want to go the extreme way. That is, we want to establish a company. We want to establish a company, okay. So what happens is that once these people show interest, okay, so at first some people will show interest, or some people will come together, like the partnership and all that. We'll come together and we make agreement that we want to do what, or we go into agreement that we want to establish a company. These people at first are called promoters. This network thing is. So these people are called promoters. So before the company is formed, or before even they go to promoters, okay, so they will come together with whatever capital they have. I mean, a whole lot of to the registrar. Okay, so the registrar will check certain things and issue them out a certificate of incorporation after following completing all the legal requirements and process they have to. The registrar will issue them incorporation. So the certificate of incorporation will determine which company are they to do what, form. Is it private or public, depending on the requirements, okay, which we'll look at in the subsequent slides. So is it private or public? Now, right after they receive that certificate of incorporation, from that day, okay, the law states that the owner of the business, or the owners of the business, and the business itself are treated separately. You are not part of the business anymore. The owners, or these people who form the business, are not part of the business anymore. Okay. They are not part of the business. Now, the business or the company is coming to be run by different people called directors. They are going to be run by, or the business is going to be run by, or managed, sorry, the key word is managed by directors. Okay, so we said, in fact, in company law, we said companies are what? Artificial beings which operate through natural beings. So the law sees the company as artificial being. It means they possess the characteristics of a human being. So once you establish the business, you are not part of, or you establish the company, you are not part of the company anymore. This applies to both private and public limited company. Okay, you are not part of the company. The owners are not part of the companies anymore. For example, what do you call it? Men's Gold. Okay, Men's Gold, after establishing the company and the owners are treated differently. I mean, the assumption is that you are not part of the business, or they don't treat you together like how it is in the sole proprietorship and partnerships. Okay. Now, certain things normally happen because people think that they are not part of the company. What it means is that when you say you are not part of the company, it means that any liability the company or occurred in the company will do what? Bear that liability itself and not the owner. So for instance, if there's a high risk or maybe a debt incurred by the company, the owner of the company is not going to do what? Bear that debt or take care of that debt. It is the company which is going to do what? Bear that risk and responsibilities in paying that debt. Okay. So because of this, people think people normally hide behind the company, or they use the company as a mask, especially the owners use the company as a mask and defraud people. Okay. So what happens is that when it goes to the law courts and all reasonable doubts, or you prove it, or you are able to, or the court has been able to prove it, that indeed this person was hiding behind the company to defraud people like Namuan, there is a part of the law which is called what do you call lifting the veil of incorporation. So the court will lift the veil of incorporation. What it means is that the court will now treat you, the owner of the company, and the company as one. And now you are not different from the company anymore. Okay, so it could happen in different ways. So maybe the company has incurred debt or whatever, anything at all. What happens is that the company will work through its directors to pay that debt. Okay, then the owner will be working free. Now, when we see that the owner has, what do you call it, hid behind the company to defraud or to do any criminal form of stuff, the court will lift the veil. What it means is that the company will now treat you, the owner of the company, and the company as one. And then the law will deal with you. That is how it goes. Okay. That is how this whole company thing goes or works. Okay. So with these two, or with what we just said, we have two different kinds of companies. We have private limited company or private company and public company. Please, private companies are not those owned by private individuals, and public are not those owned by public individuals or public or by the government. No. There are key things that differentiate what a public company from a private company. Okay, so let's move on and we'll get a clear picture of what they actually are. Okay, so we said companies funded by shares. Okay, so after what do you call it? The company has been established, we will fund it by shares. That cannot be advertised for sale without the agreement of all the other shareholders. So let's say, so what do you call it? Now, these owners who were first called the promoters are now shareholders. Okay, are now shareholders. Although they are not part of the company, they are now called shareholders and they receive what you call shares. Okay, now under private limited company, the law says that you cannot advertise your shares without the agreement of all the shareholders. So if there were 5 people who are shareholders, at least all the 5 people should agree and consent to it before the, what do you call it? Shares, before shares can be what? Advertised for sale. We said that the second-hand shares cannot be sold on the stock market. So it is not easy to sell it, what do you call it? Shares to the public or whatever we are saying. Okay. Please, okay, check your network. The network in the please, let's manage it. My area is kind of okay. So thank you. I'll look at that and work on it. Mr. Bisa Andrew. Okay, thank you. Okay. So we said shares of private limited companies are normally limited in size. It means the shares owned by what? Individuals are normally that large compared to what? The public limited companies. Okay. So the advantages and disadvantages, I won't go through all of them because of time. I think it's already 7 now. We said it has separate legal what entity, that is the ownership from management. So this is seen as advantage because you, the owner, once you establish the company, you are just there receiving what? Shares. You are receiving your shares, or how do you call it? Your dividends, like that. Okay. But when it comes to any form of misapprehension, debt or whatever, you are not part, because the law says you are separate or you are different from the company. That is what we term as separate legal entity. Okay. So relative ease of formation, it is also easy compared to the public limited company. This is what? Easy to form. Okay. Although it follows legal this thing, it is easier than what do you call it? Public limited company, but a bit complex or more complex than what? The private, what do you call it? The sole proprietorship and partnership. Okay. We said limited liability of members. So just like where we say partnerships and sole proprietorship enjoy or get what you call unlimited liability. This has a limited liability. It means that when there is a debt, there is a cost, there is a risk or whatever it is, you are limited to its liability. It means that you are not to incur all these what? Risk or costs. Okay, another question. Okay, it's not a question. Okay, so let me speed up a bit. Okay, increase capital acquisition potential. Just like the example I made. A company going to a financial institution for loans, and maybe a sole proprietor kind of business also go to. I mean, you can see or you can imagine who the loan or the money will be given to. Management is relatively simple. Shared responsibility. Private company is not as strictly controlled as public company in terms of the legal what restrictions. Okay. The process you need to follow before you can establish a company or public limited company is quite what? Tougher than what? A private. Okay. We said it has shares less attractive since difficult to sell. So you see, you are not permitted to sell your shares to the public. Like what we saw in MTN, where it got to a time where they were selling their shares 2 cedis or so. People were buying 2 cedi shares. And I could imagine what percentage of or what interest they were really looking at. Because people, I mean, invested huge amounts of money and you just 2 cedis. So I was thinking about how much at all would you think they will give you? If a month you get 30 pesos, that one, I think Mama will be. So less flexible. If expansion needs finance, initial cost is high compared to the sole trader. Yes, because of the legal process or whatever you have to, and the documentations and all that. Okay, you amount a bit higher than the sole proprietorship and partnership. Lots of paperwork because of the legal, what do you call it? Regulation. True. Anything that has to do with more than one person is always peculiar or we looked at the private. Okay, let's look at the public. We said it also shares. It means you need to sell your shares or whatever to the public in order to get what? Money to be able in private companies, it is limited unless every shareholder agrees to it. But this is not like that, okay, which we'll look at or we'll see very soon. Shares can be advertised easily. Yes, like what MTN did. MTN is a public limited company, so they are free to advertise their shares to the public. Okay, so it means that's why we also saw that 2 cedis thing. 2 cedis. People were able to buy shares in MTN. Okay, so it has the most secure stock exchange listing, which allows second-hand shares to be bought and sold easily. Okay, because of the freedom, the right they have to advertise their shares to the public, it is easy to do trade shares among these form of company. Okay, look at the disadvantages and advantages. We said it has limited liability. Okay, so the advantages said it has limited liability. Okay, easy to raise large amounts of capital or finance. Yes, the example is still in standing. A company, imagine MTN going to what do you call it? Prudential Bank for a loan. Okay, and an orange seller going to Prudential Bank for a loan. And imagine whom the loan will be given to. Okay, so separation of ownership and control or management. Okay, so the owner is still separate from the management of the company. Okay, so that's an advantage. The reason why we treat or we look at this as an advantage is that when there is a debt, any risk at all, you are not part. So that strategy is what Nam1 even tried to use. Okay, Nam1 thought his company, which is what is the name?
Men's Good.
Men's Good. So he thought he's free or he is separate from Men's Good or anything that comes when it, what do you call it? That has to do with debts and risk. Men's Good will do what? Bear. He's free from it or he's different from it. And that's indeed what the law says. But they looked a bit further. Okay, by knowing that he used the company as a mask to defraud people. As it stands now, I don't know how that has got into, but I should believe when the court is able to know that he used the company as a mask to defraud people, the law will lift the veil of incorporation, or the law will practice what you call the lifting the veil of incorporation. And now you are not separate from the company anymore. They will treat you and the company as the same and deal with you. But as it stands now, I don't know how it has got into when it comes to Men's Good and this issue. But I should believe that the reason why he has not been arrested till now is because of this law that is in action. Okay, so continuity is guaranteed, transferability of shares because of stock exchange listing. Okay, so you can easily transfer your shares. What you mean is that maybe Yao, Kwame, Kwesi are the shareholders of the company. Okay, Yao can choose to transfer his shares to what? Maybe his friend or his brother or whatever. And from that time, Yao becomes what? Or Yao now becomes, it's not now, what do you call it? It's not part of the company anymore. From then, once he has transferred his shares to a different person outside the the shareholders group, is no more part of the company, or he's no more a shareholder. Now the person to whom the shares has been transferred to now become part of the what do you call it, shareholders. So that's what we term as transferability of shares. You can easily transfer your shares you have. Maybe you own 30% of whatever shares in the company. I can easily transfer it. The men always do it when they see this nice girlfriend, whatever. They do what? They transfer their shares to them. And ladies now become what? The shareholders. But once you transfer your shares, you are no more part of what? The shareholders. We said some advantages include high degree of legal regulation. Okay, so unlike the sole proprietorship and others, this one you need to follow high degree of legal regulations. Going to the registrar, do this, which we'll look at in the subsequent slides. Requirement to publicize accounts. Okay, so you have to seek permission from all the stakeholders. Okay, and they must agree and consent and approve that before you can publicize your what, or they will ensure you publicize your account. They have to ensure, all these people must ensure you publicize your account, especially the registry and others. Okay, so greater scrutiny of activities. Okay, so a whole lot of activities are in place when you are dealing or you have anything to do with what? Public limited company. Founders may lose control of ownership. Yes, the law can, or the court can tell you to stop. And I mean, you are a shareholder anyway, or you are part of the people who form the company, but the law can command, or I mean, ask you to stop being part of the owners of the company, and you have to do it. And you have to do it. Okay. So let's look at the advantages and the difference between private and public limited company.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, when you say the law can ask you to stop being part of the company, what exactly do you mean?
What we mean is that, especially when the law find out that you are doing anything illegal by using the company as a mask, as we just said, you can lose your ownership through the law's demand or command. Okay, so the law can tell you to now leave your shares and then exit the, what do you call it, the shareholders group. Okay, especially or most often than not, when the law says that something is going wrong, like what do you call it, like what NAM1 could say. So the law can tell NAM1 to do what? Let's assume NAM1 is still in existence. Men's Gold is still in existence. Okay, so the law can tell NAM1 to do what? Exit the company or exit the shareholders, what do you call it, group, and they will exit it. That is what we mean.
And please, but here's the case, it's not owned by, maybe let's say, for instance, some of the companies are not owned by one person. Like you just said, you mentioned earlier on that it could be owned by a group of 5 people. So
yes,
if maybe one person is being using the company for fraud,
yeah,
and then the law asks him to let's say go away from the company,
yeah,
don't the other 4 shareholders have a say in it?
no,
Because
that is law. That is why we said it has a, sorry, please continue. Sorry.
oh yeah, please you can go ahead.
Okay, so that is what we said, it has high level of or high degree of legal regulations. Okay, because you are a company anyway, you formed your company, you are maybe shareholders yourself, a whole lot, but you don't do what you want. You do everything you do must be coterminous with what the law says. Okay, so when the law says you, maybe Kwame, exit the ownership of the what, of the company, the 4 or the other 4 shareholders might still enjoy. So maybe you hold 40%, or let's assume you hold 40% of shares in this company. They will just share their whatever among the rest or the remaining shareholders, and you exit the company. But the idea, or the point you are trying to make it is that, or make here, is that the law can instruct you to do what? To exit the ownership of the company. That is why we say they may lose control of ownership. Please, is it okay?
Yes, it's very okay. And then please, when you are asked to exit, would there be a settlement or something? Because since you also invested in the company.
Yes, it should always be something like that. It should always be
Alright.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Not vehicle, no.
All right.
Okay, so we said a different. Okay, sorry. Is anyone else talking? Okay, still the old message. So the main difference between what the private, this is where, or this table summarizes everything. The major difference between public and private limited company is that one. So let's look at what private limited company and then public limited company. Look at private and then public. Look at private and public, like that. Okay. So when you come to the minimum number of members, okay, minimum number of members, people who can do what? Form the company. We said private should be minimum of 2, but public should be minimum of 7. 2. The maximum number of people who can form this company, the private company, should be 50, but public, we said unlimited. Okay. We said number of directors, as I mentioned earlier, the company managed by directors. Okay, so the number of directors who can manage the company or the private limited company is 2. And for public, we said at least 3. So at least 2 and at least 3 for private and public respectively. Transferability of shares.
Please, we can't
Please,
hear
my
you.
network. So sorry. Please, can I be heard?
Yes,
Hello.
please.
Yes, please, can I be heard?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
I went off totally. Yeah. So we said that transferability of shares is restricted in private company, but there are no restrictions when it comes to the public limited company. It means if you are a shareholder in private company, you can easily transfer your shares to a different person, to your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. But it is allowed in what? Public limited company. So issue of prospectus, because you are not allowed to do what? Transfer your shares or easily sell your, what do you call, advertise your shares as a public company, issue of prospectus is prohibited. What we mean is that when you say prospectus, it is just when you say we want to advertise for shares, people to come and buy shares and all that. The prospectus contains everything that has to do with the shares. We are, what do you call it, advertising, including the percentage of whatever you receive or the dividends or whatever, everything, every information about that shares are what? Given in prospectus. But because we are not allowed to easily what? Advertise our shares to the public, the prospectus or issuing of prospectus to the public is what? Limited or prohibited. But can issue prospectus at or under public limited company. Okay, so I should believe that when MTN is giving out, or maybe it's or advertising its shares, they will definitely attach a prospectus which illustrate or indicate clearly the percentage of each what do you call it, shares each member will own after you purchase the shares. Okay, so let's say 2 cedis, this is what you are going to get as your what? Dividend. 3 cedis, this is what you are going to get as your dividend, like that. So that is the idea of prospectus. Okay, so it contains the information about the asset you are what? Advertising. Okay, or you are what? Putting out to the public for purchase. Okay, so this table illustrates, I mean, it summarizes everything when it comes to the difference between public and private. But the key thing here is where even in contract law you see, okay, is this transferability of shares. Okay. Okay, so let's see the considerations in choosing a form of business or enterprise. Why, or what are the things we need to consider before choosing either to do what? Establish a private limited liability company, public limited liability company, sole proprietorship, or partnership. Okay, so the legal liability, you will first have to check the legal liability. What it means is that what are your liabilities when you want to do what? Invest in each kind of business unit. Okay, so you could see clearly that some of them has high legal liability, or even we don't say high, we say unlimited liability. Hey, sorry. Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Iranchi, yes, please. Let's listen to you.
Hello, boss. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, one of the students was asking whether the person, I mean, when he was trying to explain the issue of men's good,
Yeah.
I understand the guy said if maybe men's good use a company for a fraud and the company, what do you call it, they send the company to court and other things, then men's good cease to be the owner of the company. But during your explanation, he made me ask you that supposing they take the ownership from men's good, or they take him out from the shares, will he be compensated? That is where I'm finding a little this in the challenge, because the person have made a company to, I mean, come to standstill. Why should they compensate him again?
Yes. So it depends on the reason why the person is being taken out from the ownership. If it is legal, or maybe something that didn't hurt other people that much, it still makes sense to compensate. Okay, it is not compensation per se, but at least the person has invested in the business. So it makes sense. I don't know what the law says about that. And you see, this thing hugely depends on what? the agreement between what promoters at the beginning, before even you went to the registrar for of the business and all that. So, but I think once it is concluded, right? It is concluded and all evidence are in a position where there are no reasonable doubts. I think there shouldn't be a way where anybody should be coming in case there is something like that. Yeah.
Good. And another question, because I was having a question, but it's because you didn't call me.
Oh, sorry. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yes.
I was just looking on the screen and not.
Very good. So during the explanation of the public company and the private company, yes, I want to understand. Is there any difference between we have public organization and private organization, and now public company and private company? Is there any difference, or is the same? Hello.
I think his network is bad, so he's off again. And when he comes back, I think he'll answer you.
Yes. I understand.
Yeah. And then I think from what you were asking, you see, when he was saying the general partner, I don't know if you've taken notice of it. He said he or she has limited liabilities. That means when there's a liability, he or she is not responsible for it. Hello?
No, I want to understand the difference between.
Please reframe your question well.
So
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Very good. I want to understand. I want to understand the difference between public organization and public company. And we have private organization and public organization and public company. I just want to know the difference, because this one is organization, this one is a company. So I just want to get a clear view of it.
So what the lecturer is saying is that, or what you want to clarify is that when it is what do we call a public organization, we should consider whether or not is it a business purpose? Is it for a business purpose? Are they going to get profit? Is their aim? Are they aiming at profit? If yes, they are aiming at profit, then it's equally a company, a private or a public company. But if the organization doesn't aim of profit, then it can be classified as a company. Or
not true.
No,
we have
please,
private
can I come in?
organization and public organization.
Yes, sir, you can come in.
Sir, please, you can come in. Let me stop.
Oh no, we are learning. You can.
Yes.
So please, what I understand is that the private company is different from a private organization, because organization is for the government and the company is for the individual. That is what I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. I think I agree with what
exactly.
when she is also saying, because when you say private organization and then public organization, the private organization also looks at profit. And then when you say the private company and then the public company, they both look at profit. So what Wenchi is also saying, I think we need clarification on that.
Okay.
Or Mr. Wenchi,
So
am I mistaken?
there is nothing like private what do you call it? Public organization. Public company.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
So can I put it in a simple word? Right.
Okay.
So if you could allow So when you say private organization, the word is organization. It means it is owned by the government. what do you call it? The private individual, private organization, and public organization or public entity is owned by the government, public entity. But when you say company, company is a name itself under the law.
Okay.
Because we have public, what do you call it? Organizations which are private company. And we have private, what do you call it? Organizations which are public company. For instance, MTN is a public company, but it is not owned by the government. So when the only thing that can make it the difference clear to you is when we are using entity or organization other than company. Because company, when you mention company, it is seen under the law as a business unit, not the form of what do you call it? Ownership, either private or public. But when you said what do you call it? Organization, then you are looking at who established it, maybe the government or the public or whatever. That is what we are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is what
I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes, I'm okay now. That is what I want to understand.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Thank
Can
you.
I please ask a question?
Please. Yes,
please. If you're a promoter or a shareholder, can you work in that company, or your family members, can they work in that company? Thank you.
Okay, so sorry. Thank you very much. It depends on the agreement anyway, but the law states that as a promoter or a shareholder, you hold what we call fiduciary duty. Okay, you hold a fiduciary duty. What it means is that, and one of the fiduciary duties is that you avoid any form of conflict of interest. So if the action you are taking, for instance, bringing the person in because he or she is a family member, if it is assumed or it is concluded that it is a form of what? Conflict of interest, then it will not be allowed. But as to whether your family member can work in or not, there are no established law that prevents that. But it shouldn't be in a form of conflict of interest, or it shouldn't, what do you call it? What do you call it? What the law says, that is, it's responsibility of the promoters and shareholders hold what you call the fiduciary duty. So if you read it, you understand. One is to protect the company from any financial or legal damage. Okay. Two, you should be able to do what? Avoid conflict of interest. You should avoid conflict of interest. So because you think you own the company or you are part of the owners of the company, you want to be, a whole lot of things as you, fine, it can be done because there are no laws that prevent that. But it should not be seen as a conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Or it should not against what the law says, that you hold a fiduciary duty as a promoter or an owner of a company. Please, is it okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So degree of control is 37. Okay, please. There are some areas I would like us to read on it. So the time is, I don't want to exceed the 2 hours. Okay, so degree of control or management of authority. Okay, management authority. Okay, so you need to look at the degree of control you have or management authority you have before entering into or deciding which entity, what do you call it, business unit are you going for. Okay, so do you want high level of control? Then go to what? Sole proprietorship, because in companies you are not allowed to do that. Potential for capital acquisition. So how will you be able to get capital easily to start up the business? Okay, you have to look at that. Okay, compliance with legal formalities and regulations, taxations. Okay, which of these people or units pay more tax than the other? Okay, and it is clear that companies pay more taxes than sole proprietors. Okay, I don't remember the last time this AMA people or whatever, GRA or whatever, they go to this orange seller to take collectors or whatever. I haven't seen that before. They don't even have your time. Okay.
So please, they take tax at the station where they sell.
Okay, but are they too strict compared to what they what do you call it? They do to the companies? I think the answer is no. If they don't meet you, I don't even think they come again. Maybe the next or the following year is when, I mean, that is what you are talking. Transferability of shares. Are you ready to transfer your shares? If yes, fine. You can go to maybe public limited liability company. Okay, so we look at one important concept under business entity or business unit, sorry, or what we term as legal structures. So we said franchising. Okay, it is an agreement or a contract in which the owner of a trademark, trade name or copyright has license order to use it in selling goods or service. And it is very common in Ghana or in the world these days because of the time it takes, how difficult it takes to build a brand. People now choose to go into franchising agreement instead of starting everything from scratch. Because, for instance, this man selling KFC, whatever in Ghana, KFC is not a Ghanaian owned this thing, but they are selling it here in the brand name KFC. I heard Vortic also does same. I think Vortic has 3 or so water producing companies which are under franchise of Vortic. So what we are talking, or what we are saying is that franchising is where an owner of a trademark, okay, give the right or a right to another person to sell in their copyright, or to use that copyright to sell their goods or services. That's what you're talking about. Okay, so the key word here is the right to do what? To do it. An example is the Vortic Ghana Limited KFC we are talking about. We can mention thousands of them. So what are the key terms in franchising? Okay, so we said the franchisor. The franchisor is the person giving out the right to someone else. Okay, so in this case, in the case of KFC is the franchisor. KFC is the franchisor. Okay, and then the franchisee is the recipient, okay, or the receiver of the right. Okay, in this case, that man here, I don't visit those areas because I'm a local man, so I don't know anything about it. I don't even know where KFC is located. Yeah, in Accra.
Don't worry, I will take you there one day.
Yeah, boss. I'm ready, but
don't worry.
He has been sending his girl there. He's a lie. I've seen him.
Oh no, I don't know. Me.
Don't worry, I will send you there.
I hear my boss. I hear.
6 March, I will send you there.
Okay.
All right. It's not obvious.
Don't promise
So,
anything. Don't promise anything.
sure. So the franchisee is a person who receives the right to sell under the brand of the franchisor or the brand of other companies. And we said the franchise agreement is the agreement between these two people. Okay, this is what we are talking about. The agreement between the franchisor and the franchisee. Okay, it includes how the thing is going to be done. Okay, I think the next slides will do. So all these are the franchising agreements. Okay, the franchising agreement. So the franchisor will do what? Assign territory. He will assign territory as to where are you to sell their what product. So KFC can tell that man or that people or the people selling their product here that sell within Accra only. Don't go to Betum. Don't go to Oda. Sell within Accra only. So they are assigned territory. Okay. They provide financial aid and advice. Very important. Okay. They offer mechanized or supplies at a competitive prices. So that chicken or whatever you can buy from the shop or a different place at a high price, they can do what? Supply it to you at a very competitive prices. Okay. So they provide training and support. It is the responsibility of the franchisor to provide the training and support needed to run the business, because it is assumed you are new to such business. So whatever it is you need to know, they have to provide that to you. Then we have the business expansion using OPM. So we said franchisee is the firm that's licensed to use the franchise's ideas. Okay. So they pay upfront costs. They make payments monthly to franchisor. They run business by franchises rules. What they tell you is what you do. And then they buy materials from franchisor. Yes, as we said. I think, I don't know which people sell the chicken. The chicken. So the idea is that they bring the chicken from wherever it is to the people here in Ghana. Yes. Okay. So they buy it. Okay. They buy the materials from them, from the franchisor. So if this is the chicken or kind of chicken we use for our stuff, that is exactly what you have to use. Therefore, come and buy from us. And it is allowed in that way as well. So advantages and disadvantages of what? Franchise. So what are the advantages? Management and marketing assistance. They assist you in managing and what you can manage the marketing activities. Personal ownership. Okay. Personal ownership. So they think, or it is assumed that you own it, although you didn't start it yourself, you didn't have that right to call it your own company. It is still assumed you do what? You own it. That KFC man in Accra can boldly say, this is my business. That is what you are talking about. Recognized name. Yes, the name is already recognized. The brand is already what? Recognized. So, for instance, KFC. Everyone in this world knows KFC. Recognized brand. Okay. Financial advice and assistance, lower failure rates. Okay. Because of the recognized name. To fail is not something peculiar. So higher startup cost, higher startup cost, share profit, management regulation, and then restrictions are all the downsides of what? Franchising. Yes, sometimes they will demand huge amount of money because of the brand name. They won't just allow you to go and establish that thing in any corner. I mean, you need well-established structures to be able to operate within. And in doing that, you need high capital. Shared profit, you don't enjoy the profit alone. You have to give your boss or whatever it is. Sometimes they will even tell you the percentage you have to pay from that profit you earn. Management regulation, yes, they'll always tell you what to do. And the restrictions on selling, as I was saying, they can't, if they don't allow you to sell beyond certain boundaries, you can't do it. 2, you can't add any other thing. That they say sell our product, then that's exactly what you sell, depending on the agreement. Okay. So the business plan is something we can just read on. Okay. Business plan is just an outline of all the things we need to carry out our business and other. So what is the objectives of business plan? To identify and describe the nature of the new business opportunity, present a written plan on opportunity, attract investors or persuade a bank on. I mean, these are the objectives of business plan, which we can read on. Okay. Importance and necessity. Explain points. So let's look at stakeholders. Okay, stakeholders. So stakeholders are people who have actions of what? A business or a company. People who can affect or can be affected by the actions of a business. Okay. Or they also include people who in the business. Okay. So we have internal and external stakeholders. The internal stakeholders include the new venture management, the employees. They are normally within the what? The company. Or within the organization, let me say it that way. And external stakeholders are the customers, people who are outside the organization. So customers, investors, banks. Okay. The content of a business plan, I think you can read on it. Overview of a simple business plan, you can read on. So this is how business plan looks like. Okay. In its simplest form. Okay. Okay. So please, we have ended the lecture. Kindly raise it if there are any questions or something of that sort. Please don't, the person recording it can stop it for now.